Good morning, students. We were studying the chapter Mughal Empire, and today we are going to start second part of this chapter. In this video, we will discuss about some Mughal emperors, as you can see in this table 1. And dear students, you have to listen very carefully and watch this video completely. In the previous video, we discussed about Babur and his expeditions and fights, battles he won and fought. Today we start the discussion about Humayun. Humayun's rule can be divided into two parts: 1530 to 1540 and 1555 to 1556. He was the son of Babur and Maham Begum. His first campaign was against Kalinjar, right? So he divided his inheritance according to the will of his father. His brothers were each given a province. The ambitions of his brother Mirza Kamran weakened Humayun's cause against Afghan competitors. Sher Khan or Sher Shah Suri or Sher Khan. He defeated Humayun at Chausa, at the Battle of Chausa in 1539. You have to remember two battles, Kannauj and Chausa. In both of the battles, consecutive battles in 1539 and 1540, Sher Shah Suri or Sher Khan defeated Humayun. After that, Humayun escaped and he went to Iran. In Iran, Humayun received help from the Safavid Shah. He recaptured Delhi in 1555 but died the next year after an accident in his building. You can see that Humayun died due to falling down from the stairs in his library. So in this way he died in 1556, only after 1 year of his second reign. His sister was Gulbadan Begum. She wrote Humayun Nama. You have to remember. Now we'll discuss about Akbar. Akbar was a great Mughal emperor. As we can see, his reign can be divided into three parts or three periods: 1556 to 1570, 1570 to 1585, 1585 to 1605. In the first period, he became independent of the regent Behram Khan and other members of his domestic staff. Military campaigns were launched against the Suri dynasty and other Afghan rulers, and against the neighboring kingdoms of Malwa and Gondwana, and to suppress the revolt of his halt brother Mirza Hakim and Uzbeks. In 1568, the Sisodia capital of Chittor was seized, and 1569, Ranthambore was annexed by Akbar in the first period of his reign. You have to remember this thing. Akbar was born to Hamida Banu Begum at Amarkot in Rana Virsal's palace in 1542. When he became Samrat or emperor, he was only of 14 years old in 1556. So after that second period, 1570 to 1585, military campaigns in Gujarat were followed by campaigns in the east in Bihar, Bengal, Odisha. Then third period, expansion of Akbar's empire. Campaigns were launched in the northwest. Kandahar was seized from the Safavids and Kashmir was annexed, as also Kabul after death of Mirza Hakim. Campaigns in Deccan started, and Berar and Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar were annexed or controlled by Akbar. Another thing about Akbar's rule, that at the time of Akbar's death in 1605, he died. His empire included Kashmir, Sindh, Kandahar, and extended as far as the Godavari in the Deccan area. Right? So this was about Akbar. Now, next one is Jahangir. If you see about Jahangir, became emperor in 1605 and ruled till 1627. So during this period, his military campaign started by Akbar continued. The Sisodia ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted Mughal service. Less successful campaigns against the Sikhs, Ahoms, Ahmednagar followed. Prince Khurram, the future Emperor Shah Jahan, rebelled in the last years of his reign, his son, and the efforts of Noor Jahan, Jahangir's wife, to marginalize him were unsuccessful. So about Jahangir, if we say that his greatest future was loss of Kandhar to Persia in 1622, and Jahangir's wife Noor Jahan, she was the daughter of Itamad Dola, exercised tremendous influence over the state affairs. She was made the official Badshah Begum. So in this way, next one is about Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan was born in Jodhabai or Jagat Gosai in Lahore in 1592. His real name was Khurram. He was youngest prince to be appointed as governor of Deccan at the age of 15 years. In 1612, he got married to Arjuman Bano Begum, known as Mumtaz Mahal. You have listened the name Mumtaz Mahal, and in memory of Mumtaz Mahal, he built Taj Mahal. So you can see here under Shah Jahan, the Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi rebelled and was defeated during his reign. Campaigns were launched against Ahmednagar. The Bundelas were defeated and Orcha seized. In the northwest, the campaign to seize Balkh from Uzbeks was unsuccessful and Kandhar was lost to the Safavids. In 1632, Ahmednagar was finally annexed and the Bijapur forces sued for peace. So this was about Shah Jahan. In 1657 to 1658, there was conflict over succession amongst Shah Jahan's son. Aurangzeb was victorious and his three brothers, including Dara Shikoh, were killed. Shah Jahan was imprisoned for the rest of his life in Agra and then he died in prison. Aurangzeb, he was the last powerful Mughal emperor. In the northeast, the Ahoms were defeated in 1663 but rebelled again in 1680s. Campaigns in northwest against the Yusufzai and Sikhs were temporarily successful. If we see about more regarding Aurangzeb, he was the third son of Shah Jahan, born in Ujjain. He took the title of Alamgir. You have to remember, dear students, he took the title of Alamgir. In 1659, he was called Jinda Pir, also known as Jinda Pir. You should remember. And he prohibited intoxicating drugs and destroyed the Vishwanath temple of Varanasi. He died in 1707 and was buried at Huldabad, known as Daulatabad. You can see here, Prince Akbar rebelled against Aurangzeb and received support from the Marathas and Deccan Sultanate. He finally fled to Safavid Iran. After Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanates. Bijapur was annexed in 1685 and Golconda in 1687. From 1698, Aurangzeb personally managed campaigns in Deccan against Marathas who started guerrilla warfare. Marathas used to do the guerrilla warfare. Aurangzeb also had to face the rebellion in North India by Sikh, Jat, Satnamis, etc. In the northeast, Ahoms, and Deccan, Maratha. His death was followed by a succession conflict amongst his son. So after the death of Aurangzeb, Mughal empire started to decline, as in the previous video we discussed, because later Mughals were very weak and they could not control the big empire. For example, Bahadur Shah and first Bahadur Shah, Jahadar Shah, Farrukh Shiar, Muhammad Shah Rangila, etc. So these rulers could not control the empire. Now we'll see the expeditions, military campaigns under Akbar and Aurangzeb very carefully. The first thing about, the center of Mughals were in Delhi and Agra. In this area was the center of the power during Mughals. If we see the campaign of Akbar, Malwa, here you can see 1561. Ranthambore by Akbar 1569, Chittor 1568, Gujarat 1572, Patna 1574, Bengal 1574, and if we see towards Berar, Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, etc., these were during the reign of Aurangzeb. And Odisha in 1592, Sindh in 1591, Kandhar in 1595, you should note down 1595, and next if we see Kabul 1581, you have to remember, dear students, Kabul 1581, and then Srinagar and Jammu and Kashmir and Baluchistan 1586. So in this way Akbar spread the empire, and Aurangzeb to the south, Bijapur 1685, Golconda 1687, and these were the areas, Sindh also. In this way Akbar and Aurangzeb spread the empire, Mughal empire. So next topic, Mughal traditions of succession. Succession means who used to become, the tradition in which who used to become the king after the death of the king. The Mughals did not believe in the rule of primogeniture. What is the meaning of primogeniture? Primogeniture is a system of the firstborn child, in which firstborn child used to become the king, where the eldest son inherited his father's estate. It means after the death of the king, his firstborn child or son used to become the king. But Mughals did not believe in this theory. Instead, they followed the Mughal and Timurid custom of compulsory inheritance, or a division of the inheritance amongst all the sons. Right? Compulsory means jointly hireship. Right? Jointly hireship. Follow the highlighted passages in table 1. We discussed about that, and note the evidence for rebellions by Mughal princes. So many examples you can have. Which do you think is a fairer division of inheritance, primogeniture or compulsory? Clear? So this was the topic. Next one is Mughal relations with other rulers. Some Mughal rulers like Akbar, etc., they used to have the relations with other rulers like Rajputs, Jats, Marathas, etc. You will notice that the Mughal rulers campaigned constantly against rulers who refused to accept their authority. In table 1 we discussed. But as the Mughals became powerful, many other rulers also joined them voluntarily, deliberately, or willingly. The Rajputs are a good example of this. Many of them married their daughters into Mughal families and received high positions, but many resisted as well, many opposed them. So many examples you can have. The Sisodia Rajputs of Mewar refused to accept Mughal authority, and they fought against Mughals for a long time. Once defeated, however, they were honorably treated by the Mughals, given their lands, means Watan, back as assignments, Watan Jagir. And the careful balance between defeating but not humiliating their opponents enabled the Mughals to extend their influence over many kings and chieftains, because they did not used to humiliate the kings or the local rulers. So in that case, the local rulers used to willingly combined with the Mughals, but it was difficult to keep this balance all the time. Right? In table 1 we discussed again. Note that Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji when he came to accept Mughal authority. What was the consequence of this insult? This insult means consequence was very simple, that Shivaji opposed Mughals. Clear? And the long time battle started. Some examples: Mughal marriages with the Rajputs. The mother of Jahangir. The mother of Jahangir was a Kachawa princess, daughter of Rajput ruler of Amber. Modern day it is known as Jaipur. The mother of Shah Jahan was a Rathod princess, daughter of Rajput ruler of Marwar, right? Jodhpur. So dear students, in this way we have covered these topics in this video. If you have any doubt, you can ask me by writing in the comment box, and watch this video again. If you are not able to understand, tell me. Thank you. Have a nice day.